Welcome to Hochoka Podcast.
Hello, Mitaki Yepi, and welcome to Hochoka here at the center of St. Joseph's Indian Schools campus. I'm Scott Wooster, today's Hochoka host. We're glad you've joined our circle. Today we talk with Steele and Debbie Alphin from Atlanta, Georgia. They are with us this weekend to enjoy our 46th annual powwow. So welcome, Steele.
Yeah.
Welcome, Debbie. It's good to have you here. So this is kind of a unique year. We haven't had a powwow with visitors for 3 years, and it's really nice to have people back on campus, and it's nice to meet you guys today. You guys come, and a lot of donors come to actually be at the school where they're donating, and they get to see what the school looks like, hear the stories from our school. And sometimes we don't get to hear donor stories as much. You make this place tick, and it's good for us to hear your stories too. So can you just tell us a little bit about yourselves, lives, influences, interests, that kind of thing?
You go.
You want me to go first?
Yeah.
Of course. I grew up on a farm, operating farm in Virginia. Cattle, pigs, peanuts, corn, soybeans. We had a couple of horses as a kid. Grandfather was a big horseman. He actually rode competitively when I was a very small child. High school sports, like a lot of kids at that time period of our country. Went to school on athletic scholarship, and we met at UNC Chapel Hill. So that's a larger family. I have a sister and 3 other brothers. And then a very large, because my father had 8 sisters and brothers combined.
Okay.
So it was a really big family. So
Yeah.
uncles and people, and in my life, I had a couple of uncles that were big influences in my life, and then coaches, obviously. So that's kind of how I evolved as a person.
Okay.
I grew up in Charlotte, North Carolina, so I'm a Southern girl and a city girl, so this was quite a difference, marrying the guy from the farm and
Yeah.
a whole nother lifestyle that I hadn't ever really experienced that much. But grew up in Charlotte, and I have one sister, and I grew up primarily as a dancer. That was my love, and thought that was going to be something I wanted to do forever, but that didn't quite happen. But we, as Steele mentioned, we met at Chapel Hill, and we married our senior year, so we're coming up on 49 year
Yeah.
wedding anniversary. So
Congratulations.
Thank you.
thanks. And we have 2 daughters, Britt and Emily, and they're married, and we have 4 wonderful grandchildren that we spend a lot of time with and who are really important to us.
Right. But your career took you into banking. Is that straight out of college? You did that for most of your life, or am I reading that wrong?
Actually not.
Okay.
Actually, when we got out of school, we actually lived in New Jersey for a short while because I worked as a packaging salesperson for and called on pharmaceutical companies.
Okay.
And New Jersey has a lot of pharmaceutical companies. We didn't like living in New Jersey, and we only stayed there maybe 15 months, and then moved back to, at that point, not knowing exactly what we wanted to do, I moved back to the farm.
Okay. Yeah.
And spent a year at the farm with my father, my uncle, and cousins, and it was a fairly large farm, so it was always enough work. There was always something to do.
Right.
Then we moved back to Chapel Hill,
Okay.
and that's when I started in the banking business then.
Okay.
And Debbie then started a little different career too at that point.
Okay.
And that's kind of how it evolved. And then 34 years later, the bank I had started with had grown and grown and grown and grown from NCNB to Nations Bank to Bank of America.
Okay. Yeah.
Those years is
Wow.
is how it all came about.
Yeah.
And, Debbie worked for many years, then retired when the kids got a little older.
Yep.
So we could balance things a little more
Absolutely.
appropriately at home.
So you're retired now, and
Yes. I am completely retired. I actually retired. It's been 12 years.
okay.
So 12
Okay.
years retired, and I think it's the transition was challenging. Having worked for 34 years in a bank, trying to kind of redefine what I wanted to do, how we were going to do it. Being home every day, I think I drove her crazy a lot of days.
Yeah.
And I got into different things, though. I got into cycling in a much more defined way, training with people that were, serious cyclists and did things. And maybe thought about going back to work once or twice, but then it just didn't. I retired.
Right.
And my career was so rich and so unique at the bank. I didn't think I could recreate that anywhere. And
Right.
we had our daughters were married, we had grandchildren coming along, and had other interests. So yes, I'm retired. I have no skill anybody would pay for anymore.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So when did you become aware of St. Joe's Indian School and the opportunity to become donors at this school? How long ago?
At least 10 years ago, probably
Okay.
more 10 to 12. And this is an interesting story because Debbie and I have talked about it multiple times. I used to come out here and hunt. South Dakota, North Dakota, Montana, had friends that owned properties or ranches in Montana. That was elk hunting, but I bird hunted all through here.
Sure.
And had a little bit of experience, seeing the Native Americans and seeing, some of the cultural differences and I don't know how this happened. We got a couple of mail solicitations from St. Joseph's at another school, and somehow or another, I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was a message. Who knows how these things happen. We got a little more aligned with St. Joseph's, and then when I had retired, Debbie and I were just sitting around talking about it, and I said, I'm gonna go there. I'm just going to go there. I want to see what that's like. Because
Right.
I hadn't been to Chamberlain, even though we had hunted around. I said, I just want to go see what that's all about.
Yeah.
Came here, just
Right.
flew into
Solo
Sioux Falls.
trip.
Yeah.
Solo trip over. Walked around the museum because I'm interested in the culture. I have a brother who does a lot of things in that space also. And from that, I literally was getting ready to leave. And I don't remember the lady's name, but at the desk said, thanks for coming. Would you like to talk to someone about being more aligned with the school? And I kind of paused and said, well, I probably would. That would be great. And she said, well, hold on. She then called Jerry Beck, who used to work here.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. And Jerry came down, and we sat outside and talked for about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And that's how it began.
With a split-second decision to visit with her.
Just
and a random occurrence with a
totally random.
Yeah.
And then it went from there. Debbie got much more involved. Jerry visited our home in Atlanta 2 or 3 times, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
And we visited out here and dinner, and just got a little more from formal to a little more friendship and a little more understanding what was trying to be accomplished here, a little more knowledge about the opportunities here. And we came out, 3 years ago?
Yeah, we came originally, it was for a powwow.
Yeah.
And so we were able to come and visit the school and took the tour and met the children and, it just really put names with faces,
Right,
and you really got to see what goes on here and the impact it makes, I think, for the families that are involved here. And so it was really, really a special time for us to come out and see that.
We
Yeah.
were really, really impressed with the children we met, and how mature they were, how they'd overcome so many things. They were positive. They had great smiles on their faces. They were very excited and had a good bit of pride in their school and what they were trying to show us and educate us on.
Good speakers.
Good, very good,
Good
very
communication
Right,
skills.
Yeah.
Right.
Something I almost envied. I said that little 8-year-old's better than I am.
Right. Yeah.
And it just was it was a really good experience.
Yeah.
What would you say? Obviously there's your story of how you got into it is pretty interesting. I mean, just it could have gone any direction, but
Right.
for some reason you're here.
Right.
What would you say to somebody who's what would you say to inspire somebody else who might be considering or might have been in the same place that you were? I got a couple pieces of mail in the mailbox today, or wherever they come now, on my computer, or however that works, and they're thinking about it. What would you say to them?
I think you say,
Oh, yeah.
I think the whole-
Everybody, as you get, one of the great things about getting old you get a little bit of wisdom. You may not get any smarter, but you get a little bit of wisdom,
Yeah.
and you kind of figure out a little bit more about who you are as a person, what you like. In our case, who we are as a couple, and who we want our family to be. And because our kids have participated in some contributions here too, which we think is great.
Yeah.
We work more from, again, the time has been very generous, and we've had a wonderful life. And we don't like to not realize that. So what we would tell people is, come visit, look at yourself very hard, because if you have the ability to help, and ability can be resources, it can be strengths, it can be personality, it can be time, it can be energy, it can be thought, it can be any of those. But if you have that, you are required. If you have advantages in your life, you're then required to help other people. We believe that.
Yes.
And from that, we've looked at ourselves and we try to figure out what type of people we are, what kind of motivates us, how we want to get involved. And what's interesting is it probably has helped us stay together for almost 50 years. Well, we have been together for 50 years. We are people that look at things more responsibility and duty. We have a responsibility to help people because life has been very fortunate to us, and we have some skills, but we have a duty to do that very, very well. And we look at that as how can we do that? Well, your duty is to do it well. If you do it at St. Joseph's, you have great resources. You have people that will reach out, help you, educate you, direct you in doing what's appropriate and the biggest leverage. Then you have you see kids that have overcome obstacles they did not create. By no actions on their own did they didn't coming here with really no clothes or nothing. And that how they can be converted into very productive, smiling, happy young people. That's just remarkable to us. So that's kind of what I would try to explain. But I do think it takes a look at yourself as a person and say, what makes me want to do something good? Because helping here is good.
Yeah.
There's no downside to helping a kid who doesn't have a lot of advantages to do something significant.
Yes.
And go on and have a productive life. And I think that's how Debbie and I look at it. And it's really more of a makeup of kind of what we have learned over our life. Because I've had people reach out to me and help me throughout my life. Uncles, coaches, friends, bosses, wife, even children.
Yeah.
Dad, you're being a knucklehead.
Yeah.
Don't be like that type thing. And I think all of that's been good. So I would encourage people to do that. But the visit is powerful.
It is.
The kids are powerful. Understanding a little bit of history is powerful. Understanding where you can leverage your strengths and your abilities to help somebody, and then do it very, very well. We think the reason we were so interested in the horse barn, you can take things and you can multiply them. We can do what we can do, and we can do it with great people here at the school, but then you add something else. You add something as unique as a horse, who has a history with humans for a long, like 12,000 plus years.
Right.
That's a good partner. And it fits into the culture also. And you take that, a horse now is our partner in helping these kids do something. And I think that's great.
Right.
That horse can't talk back to us, but it can do a lot of unique things for human beings. And again, that's how we got interested in the horses. It's get a good partner, then do your best.
Right.
And I just want to add one other thing. I mean, we're still can be much more analytical sometimes on things. I'm probably more emotive, probably the emotion of it. But I think as a mother and a grandmother, I think children, their lives, their welfare, their education is just paramount to both of us. And I think once you come here and you see the success and the environment and the difference that it can make in a child's life, I can't imagine you wouldn't your heart you just want to do anything you can.
Right.
So I think that's just a big thing. So I think combining both of our approaches has made it a very easy decision for us. When we were here before, and I think it was your wife, but I thought one of the things about visiting at the school that I thought was so special was the fact that not only are they getting the reading and writing and arithmetic type thing, but we sat in on a class, and I'm thinking you're right, where they were teaching them the native language.
Yeah, that would have been
okay.
her.
So
Very, very good.
that really hit home to me, because I thought what was so great is that you're taking these children. Obviously, they leave their families and they entrusted St. Joseph's for them to come here, but that you're not only educating them, but you're educating them about their history and their culture. And so it's like you can move on to another space, and we'll empower you to do that, but don't forget from whence you came.
Right.
So I think that combination really touched me, just as a parent, on how you raise your children. And tradition is a big thing for us in our own family. Not that we necessarily had that in our prior families, but for us, we've tried to make that a big deal in our family. And I thought that was I just thought that was a really powerful thing, that they were teaching them their native language. And a lot of these kids were not even learning it in their own family.
Right.
So I thought that was really powerful. On his 70th birthday, at our age, you don't need a lot of gifts, and you don't need more things. And so our two daughters came to us and said, what can we do, or what could we give Daddy that, would be really meaningful? And I said, I think if you gave money to St. Joseph in his name, that would be the most endearing thing you could do. And so that's what they did. And Jerry produced a really great plaque, and they framed it. And it was presented it to him at dinner when we were all together. And it was a very touching thing. And I think they saw through us how important it is, to give back, and to give back in a meaningful way. And this is something that we both feel very strongly about, and it was very personal and very appreciative. And so it's not just us. I think it's kind of permeated through our family.
I think when you work in a large corporation, which I did, there was, when I retired, there were 325,000 people that worked in the bank.
Okay,
a large
right, yeah.
I had responsibility probably for just directly 35,000 people.
Wow, yeah.
So you have to learn some communication / leadership skills. But as you do, you also get a lot back. You see people perform well, you see people exceed expectations, you see the company do well, you see the shareholder reward, you see all the good things that you want. And I think we've taken that in many ways, and try to find that in other ways where you can have some influence, not undue. And that's why I like the advice I get here on what to do, and learn how to take good advice, and to use it. And we've been able to. I can find some of the same emotional fulfillment that I used to get from leading people and managing people and helping people grow, and seeing somebody be successful, or hiring a person and helping them move through the company. I get some of that same feeling now when I see kids here, and I get some of that same feeling when I work with the staff here, that this is a pretty good team.
And you guys have a very fulfilled life. You certainly do. You have your family, you have your upbringings, you raise your own kids, you have hobbies, you're comfortable, and here you are, and that feeds into what you're doing with these kids here, and that ability to be able to do this for them. I can see that it means a lot to you guys. Just in talking with you here today, it's obvious that you're getting as much out of it as and then you give that to the kids, and what they get from you guys and from the other donors is really truly a special thing.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna wrap it up. I just want to say to both of you, Wopila, which is thank you in Lakota. what you do makes such an impact, and I get to see it every day. I'm really lucky to see that. So thank you for your Chante Yuke, your generosity, and for joining us here at the Hochoka at the center of St. Joseph's Indian School campus, where we talk about issues that are central to Native American education today. Until next time, stay centered.